I'm standing here. My name is John Nwagwu, and I'm representing my Director General, Dr. Ahmad Shaba, who would have loved to make this presentation, but has asked me to represent him here. The topic, enhancing institutional research and graduate employability, I would say is a topic that is very, very relevant and very, very, very important for us to discuss. And it's good enough that the university is bringing up this topic. I like to say I've had to entertain other institutions using this as the theme of their visits to my organization, and I would explain further. I'm from the National Space Research and Development Agency, NASRDA. We're an agency of government saddled with the responsibility to develop indigenous technology, indigenous capability in space science, technology, and application. We are an agency under the aegis of the Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovation. And we've been charged with this responsibility, and for a long time, we've been doing this, and we've not really been getting responses or feedback from institutions. Students come around to the agency. We have some form of training that we give to students, and all this is actually geared towards employability. And I think from the two speakers I listened to much earlier, there is something that is very key and germane that we are all not looking at: the connectivity with industry. The institutions turn out graduates year in, year out, yet we have issues of employing them, to keep them, well employed and adequately employed. However, programs like this is an avenue for us to have a rethink, review, and then chart the way forward. Graduate employability measures the proportion of graduates that are in full-time or part-time employment within 12 months of graduation. Now, this number of students is without doubt minus probably the ones that decide to go for further studies or who are just not employable. So sometimes you want to measure a university's impact by the number of graduates they turn out and how many of such graduates are employable. And what is it that makes graduates employable? Graduates need to have requisite formal, specialized training, ethics, and mindset to perform functions or render services that is appreciative, that meets certain industrial standards, enough for a prospective employer or consumer to want to patronize such person or deem it fit to engage such a person continuously for a fee. So if we have graduates and all these aspects are missing, then we will have a glut. And I'm sure that's what we're experiencing even recently, that there are so many graduates, yet a lot of them are carrying their certificates about looking for a job. So the question is the certificate purely meant for job seeking? And I want to ask, the question that begs for answer is, does these graduates, do they have the requisite capability? Do they have the morals? Do they have the mindset? Do they have what it takes to stand out or blend into the emerging socio-economic atmosphere that we have currently? So we want to start first by looking at the educational system. Historically, as a result of colonization, our current formal society developed from the vestiges of our colonial masters. As such, what we have currently is more or less a mirror image of the governance structure, the social system, and this is clearly at variance with our traditional system that is best suited for our peculiar need as a people. Main purpose of formal training in time past is to keep the structure of governance properly manned, and that is where we have got it all wrong. This notion has actually followed us ever since. If we recast our minds back, there are documented evidences of robust socioeconomic systems that were in place and practiced by our people long before the advent of the colonialists. Having found ourselves in this system of uneven socio-cultural disparities, occasioned by our long bouts of colonial influences, there is a need to reevaluate our core value system through education and to chart a course for the future, to positively influence, equip, and train our youth and adequately arm them for the challenges of the new world. The national policy on education in Nigeria caters for the standards of education to bring effective change to all sectors of the country's development. As much as national policy on education in Nigeria focuses on the country's educational system, it is pretty devastating to say that the educational system in Nigeria has not adequately met these standards for great reforms as stipulated even in the same education policy. So what are we saying? We have a major issue in our hands. If we have graduates that are not employable, if we have graduates that cannot think outside the box, if we have graduates that are just trained, stereotyped, just to read, pass exams, and graduate, then we are actually sitting on a time bomb. It's quite expressive that in spite of our enormous natural human resources, Nigeria's education system is bedeviled with the challenges of underfunding, poor infrastructure, inadequate classrooms, teaching aids, paucity of quality teachers, and poor learning environment. Kudos must be given to Bayes University for the trail they are blazing in this particular sector. There are very few universities that can boast of even what you have in this particular environment. I'd like to say very big congratulations to the management for taking the time and to put this unique place together. It affords one the opportunity to begin to think and really enjoy learning rather than a situation where it is a case of learning just to pass and graduate. Environments like this will give you the opportunity to really think beyond just the certificates. But what can you do on your own to create an enabling environment that makes you very, very, very attractive to employers, or that situation around you can encourage you to become an employer of labor yourself? We need a paradigm shift. Most appropriate at this time in our march to greatness. We need to review school curriculum. Academic curriculum needs a total review. Curriculum should not be geared towards just passing or just to graduate. Rather, it should be geared towards giving you the opportunity and arming you with the resources with which to think outside the box, create employment, create your own world. We need to also appeal to the government as well, and then to ourselves, that there should be a social reawakening. We should start thinking of the new and emerging social system and see how our youths and graduates can become an integral part of it rather than just consumers. They should also be content creators. They should create value and add to this system. If you think back for some of us in school, the advent of the internet was like a big help for us. Every assignment you are given will quickly go online. Most of the materials that we get are published by Indians, by Chinese, by Europeans. Hardly do you find authors or contributors from within the African continent. For those that you see that has African names or seemingly African origin, they are based in foreign universities or institutions of learning. But today, if you check online, Nigerians are pulling their weight through behind contents online, both intellectual content, both musical, what have you. That is to say that there's been a lot of improvement in what we got and then what we are giving back to society. Government needs to also enhance startups, fund startups. Students are willing, other Nigerians are willing to start businesses, like the man from Corporate Affairs did mention. There are lots of people that are willing to start businesses, but businesses don't just start with just wishful thinking. There are institutions that government need to empower to actively and effectively fund these startups. When students have ideas or graduates have ideas, government should fund them to start their own businesses. Give them a long period of time to make use of funds before they start making profits, even to repay such monies. And if that is done, it helps a lot. Now, industry collaboration, as I said earlier, is very, very key. You have some industries that have needs, and those needs are to be met by the graduates. You get to go through the system for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, depending on what area of specialization you are into. You come up with very good and wonderful ideas. But that handshake between the educational institutions and the industry is just not there. If you are very, very, very familiar with systems outside this country, some industries fund researches in specific departments because they are interested in the end result of such researches. And students from such or graduates of such departments are ensured more or less automatic employment once they graduate. So this is one of the ways that we can enhance employability of our graduates. Now, speaking about government is on one side. We also need to talk about the students themselves, the graduates. For graduates, I say, this is my own personal take, not my digits anyway. I say it's a shame if graduates look forward after the huge investments by parents and sponsors to give them a unique opportunity to seek knowledge in an environment such as this. And all they end up looking for is a shared table where social gists and discussion is the order of the day, and at the end of the month, they end up with a paltry sum that is barely enough to keep body and soul together. I say it's a shame because business owners are saddled with the responsibility of keeping their businesses from crashing in the face of government policies, changing social trends, and uncertainties. So, what special skills and innovation do you have to offer business owners to maintain that consistent and positive turnover? This is what will keep you constantly in demand and highly employable. I'd like to appeal to the graduates themselves Graduates need to, as they say, up their game. Look for things that would enhance your appeal. Go into volunteering, volunteer services. Look around you. There are so many NGOs, there are so many community-based organizations that require your personal services, your commitment that would enhance your employability. Take short courses, online, offline, and there are so many of them. Some are so free and cheap. Udemy, FutureLearn, what have you. There are several of them out there. Take those courses. It improves and enhances your chances of being employed. Pick up a hobby. Sometimes it might just not be the free courses, but your hobby, what you like doing best. That might be one of the areas that would enhance your chances of being employed. Improve your online presence. Join LinkedIn, be on Facebook, be on Snapchat, what have you. Currently, only recently, sorry if I might just like take a little, I always say commercial break. Only recently, we all know Wizkid. It was reported that he made over 5.2 billion naira recently at the O2 Square. Why? Because he had a show, it was sold out for 3 days, and you would say, is Wizkid a full graduate? Did he go through this system? Yes. In terms of appeal, he has something that appeals to people, and they want to always appreciate him. That is a form of employment. We have so many Nigerians on social media. TikTok is making wave today, and a lot of people are making themselves employable and employed using these platforms. We all know of Emanuela. The list is just endless. So, of what use will it be if after going through all this as a student, and all you do is you're taking a certificate from one government institution to another, seeking employment. Yet, the means to be employed is right there in you. I'd like to conclude this by saying our institutions need to work together with industries and with government to not only increase students' awareness of the importance of soft skills, but also to guide them in taking individual responsibility to acquire and develop essential skills in order to adapt to the changing labor market and improve employability. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nwagwu, for that excellent presentation. As I said it earlier,